For more insight on the FBI's warrant execution, we are joined by Robert McDonald. He is a former Secret Service agent where he served in a supervisory role and is now a lecturer on criminal justice at the University of New Haven. Good morning.
Good morning, Larry and Robin. Thank you for having me on.
How serious is a search related to records that belong in the National Archive?
Well, I think first we need to talk a little bit about the unprecedented nature of the search at a former president's residence, of which is protected by another federal agency. So it's a little bit odd to see something like this. Normally these things are done through a negotiation period of how to get particular records back that may have been designated as top secret and may not be allowed in the possession of a former president. I guess there were some, for what I'm hearing anyway, that there were some boxes that were discovered in Mar-a-Lago back in February. And obviously some other things have happened along the way, or a breakdown in communication or discussions on how to retrieve those documents and get those back to the National Archives.
It's just, is it ever been done where a search like this has been done at the home of a former president?
Not that I'm aware of, and in discussing with some of my former colleagues last night, none of us have been able to recall a time when anything like this was done. You know, we go back maybe to Watergate. A lot of that investigation dealt with the people in and around the president's inner circle, which then forced President Nixon's resignation. This is a little bit different, where we're actually at the residence of the former president. And again, which is protected by another federal agency.
What is the bar for getting a warrant, and does this show that Trump has not been cooperating?
I don't know that I'd go that far at this point, but the bar on this, I think, is incredibly high. My guess is that this had to receive approvals at the highest level. You know, the bar is high in any search warrant that's done on anybody. Information has to be presented to a magistrate or a federal judge indicating that there's a belief that a crime has been committed and that there's evidence of that crime. So again, I think the fact that this was the president's former residence, this must have gone to the highest level for approval before that warrant was executed yesterday in Florida.
So what does this say about what the Justice Department has on the former president, or if charges might be coming soon? I guess it all depends on what they find.
Yeah, I think until we see the search warrant, if it's opened up for review, I'm not sure any of us can really speculate on what was there or what potentially was there until we see what the actual verbiage of that search warrant was that was presented to the judge.
Would Trump or his lawyers have insight into reading the warrant that would tell them exactly what they're looking for?
Trump's lawyers would have to have been given, or a representative of Trump at the time of the execution of the search warrant have to be given a copy of that warrant for their review.
But would it be specific, or would it just say classified documents? And if it's classified documents, what does that usually signify? Is that agent lists of agents in other countries, or nuclear codes?
Could be any of a number of things. Again, until we see some specificity, I don't think we'll know. Again, all of those type of things are all fall under the title of classified information. So it's a wide range of things that could possibly be involved here.
All right, Robert McDonald from the University of New Haven, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, folks. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Here's a look at some of the other stories making headlines.